It's straightened out.
All right, I think it's time for us to get started here. I'm standing in for Roger, and so I'll be here with y'all this morning. Hopefully you can tolerate me for a little bit.
Oh, you can.
We'll
We got
see how it
confidence
goes.
in you. You
We
can
don't
do
have
it.
to, we don't have to.
That's right, yes, that's right. Yeah, if you don't like it, tell God, not me.
And we can't get up and
Anyway.
leave because the man upstairs wouldn't like it.
That's right, that's right. This stuck. I'll try not to hold you hostage too long. Okay, a couple quick announcements, at least ones that I'm aware of, updated. Connor Jones, he was in DCH with some abdominal issues, but he's since been able to go home. So that's good. I talked to him a little bit yesterday, and he's just got to recover from that. Connor Jones, Tammy Jones' son. And then after that, Miss Judy, for those who may not have seen already or heard, but she is going under hospice care there at the house, and so Carrie, he's really occupied this week a lot. So anyhow, be praying for them, pray for their family, pray that best thing can happen there. Then after that, I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. If I am, feel free to speak up, and may or may not have the answer, or it can just be announced from you. But we have connect groups this coming Sunday at 5, so of course a class in here. And then Grandparents' Day, that's something new we're doing this year. So we announced this Sunday in the fellowship meal time. But if you weren't there for that, or maybe you forgot, that's going to be March the 29th. And so it's kind of a really big day. We'll get together, do our normal worship, eat in here. The kids will handle the second service, prepare for last leader.
Are we gonna eat in here?
No, sir. No,
Oh,
sir.
I think you would kind of look like
You can if you want to.
No,
The rest of it's not in there.
no.
But anyhow, and so
And all ages can be on the egg hunt, even if you've never grown up.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Oh,
If
hey,
you-
while I'm thinking about it, on a serious note.
if you bring your basket, I'll bring the camera.
Wife Liz up in prayer sheet, and it's more serious than the arthritis. She said she didn't want bug everybody with the symptoms. It's not life-threatening, but it's enough to be serious. And she's went to the doctor yesterday, and he found some things. She's got to go to another doctor day at 2. So,
Okay, yes,
so I've
okay.
got my day mapped out for me.
Yes, well, we'll sure be praying for her and y'all both about that, and we can help you. Let us know.
Thank you.
Keep you in our
Good
prayer.
morning, Troy.
But on the 29th, so bring your grandkids, tell them to come, say hey on the 29th, come to church with us. It'll be a good day, and then people who are here, the grandkids that are here, they're going to invite their grandparents. At least that's the plan, and get them here. All right. Does anybody have anything else that I'm overlooking, missing?
Her daughter is 54 years old.
No, she ain't. 51?
Okay. 51.
Okay.
She was little. Ain't nobody was little that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's right.
But she got big enough to get over it.
That's right.
She come in there one day, I was sitting in the den there, and she come in there with her Easter basket full of Irish potatoes.
Uh-huh.
We hide the taters.
There you
I
go.
told her I wasn't hiding.
Yeah,
taters.
that's right. That's good. Well, tell all of them to come on. We'll have about 1,000 Easter eggs, so there ought to be enough out there for everybody. We got a bunch. All right, we're going to get started in James
Now,
chapter
what
3.
time will the Easter hunt be?
It's going to be at the very end of
But
everything
it
on
will
Sunday.
be while we at the auditorium, the announcement go.
No, ma'am. So we're going to go through the whole day, and it'll be at the very end. After that's over, we'll all go home. So it'll happen after we go in here and eat and do the second service.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
We gotta wait on the bunny to get here.
That's right. That's right. All right, James chapter 3. So I'll start out by telling you this story. I had James chapter 3. So what I had done was I had taken a bolt and I had gotten it into a part on my vehicle that I needed that bolt back. And so I was trying to separate the bolt from the part, and I was like, well, I really need to strike it, but I didn't have anything to hold it so that I could get a good whack at it with it. And so what I did was I went and got Bree and I told her to hold it while I hit it with this hammer. And whenever I did, I went in there and I reared back and I struck it real good and skipped off the side and hit her finger. And so that was bad, right? That was really, really bad. I'm sure you've done something similar, hit your own hand, hit something you weren't intending and messed it up and couldn't use it anymore or what have you. But hammers, really, what is their job? What are they supposed to do? Yeah, they're really hammer, drive a nail, right? Do those type things. And so whenever you use it right, you can do a lot of good things with it. You can build buildings, you can build furniture, you can do a lot of stuff with that, and the list could go on and on. The construction world is very thankful for the hammers, right? Big deal. But if I wanted to, with that hammer, right? If I wanted to, could I go and destroy a lot of things with it?
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, if you gave me that's right. If you gave me a hammer in here and you just, gave me, 10 minutes, I could rework this room here for you, right? It wouldn't take long to do it all, and it would just destroy the whole thing, and it'd cost a lot of money. We would be in big trouble, right? So a hammer really can do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, its primary job was to do this, right? To hammer. The tongue, it works a lot like that hammer does. There's a lot of things that you and we can do with our tongue, okay? And the tongue, though, just like that hammer, whoever's holding it, that's who's going to decide what it does, right? That's who decides what it's going to do and the work that it's going to put in. So we'll ask this question, will it be used to build or will it be used to destroy? So the choice is ours. We have this choice. During the day at James, Christians during this time, they're misusing the vast power of the tongue. The tongue has a lot of power. It can do a lot of good. And James, he's not exaggerating in the text here, and we're going to get to it. We're going to read and progress through some of it slowly together. But he was going to make sure that, hey, it is true. It belongs to you. You can use it how you choose, but I want you to know the way you're choosing, the way you're doing this it's wrong, okay? It's not correct. You're misusing it, and you're going to destroy a lot of things. So we need to keep our tongues under control. If somebody will read verses 1 through 2 for us of James chapter 3, 1 through 2.
My brethren, let not many of you become teachers, knowing that we shall receive a stricter judgment. For we all stumble in many things. If anyone does not stumble in word, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle the whole body.
Okay. So does most people's translations say teachers or does it say schoolmaster? Maybe teachers. Okay, good. That's the understanding we want to have. Be not many of you teachers. Does that sound strange? Coming in, from the Word of God. Let not many of you be teachers. I know for me as a minister that does sound a little strange because what are we always in need of? Teachers. Yeah, all the time, right? Prime example right here. I'm not supposed to be here, but there was a need, and here I am. Yes.
Well, that's just like if you're teaching us something wrong.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
That's when
Yes.
I'd probably
Yes.
correct you.
So, James, he's making a point about a very distinctive ministry. One that Paul spoke of when he said, he gave some to be evangelists, some pastors or elders, and then teachers. And so what this is talking about is this, like what I'm doing with you today, with the public teaching of the Word of God. There's a lot of things that goes into that. What are some of the dangers with somebody getting up and teaching like this that probably shouldn't be?
Well, if you got somebody and you're not one that shouldn't be.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
But what I'm saying is you might get somebody that feels inclined or they want to make their own light shine, and they get up there and they don't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And you can, or they can get up and try teaching, and not meaning, to do anything wrong, but they're not, I won't use the word gifted exactly, but they don't know enough about the Lord, and they're up there teaching things that shouldn't be. There was used to be an article in the newspaper back when I was still living in Huntsville and that area, and guy came in Publix there one time, and he tried to tell this person. And somebody else had already put it in the thing that God never did say anything in the Bible about people who were living the wrong kind of lives, immoral, stuff like that. And I was afraid I was going to get thrown out. I said, that man there seems to not know the Lord, and you got everything turned around. Now you apologize, but not so much to us, but tell the Lord you're sorry you did that.
Right.
And then people started clapping their hands. I was waiting for the police to come put the cuffs on me. And I'm sorry, I couldn't hold back. If we love the Lord, we can't stand there and have somebody put him down or blacken his name or anything like that,
That's right.
So you need to know that if you do something, just like leading a song or something, if you're a song leader, you get up there and you lead a song, you like that song, but you don't know it from Adam's house cat.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. All right, good. All right, anybody else want to make a comment on that? A lot of misuse that can happen, right? A lot of misuse with that. Were you going to say something? No? By standing up here and teaching, we mentioned this a little bit here, but there are some people that maybe they do get up here and they preach and teach the truth, but their motivation is this: they want to elevate themselves in front of all of you, right? They're looking for glorification for self and not so much for God, right? Not to be insensitive or sound like I don't care, even though I'll say that, but I'm not really concerned how you feel about me and what I do up here teaching or preaching up there. I'm not trying to get you to feel a certain way about me. I'm trying to change your heart and how you feel about God and the way you live. And as long as I do that, I'm not really concerned with what you feel about me.
Well, they have to hear us give the Lord glory.
That's right.
That's what it's all about. It's
right.
real easy to say, oh, look at what I've done. I'm something special,
That's right. That's right.
And,
So,
like the priest and Levite, they just kept on going, and they didn't do what the Good Samaritan did. Yeah. He did the Lord's work.
Yeah. So, taking that, though, I don't want you to be mistaken. I want to say the last time I was in here, we actually covered about how we need to go and teach others. We all need to be involved in individual teaching of the Word of God. That's such we find in Acts chapter 8, 1 through 4. That's important. That's needed. We have to have that. But there is a weightier responsibility with this. I know for myself, God is going to judge me strictly because of that. I know that. And so, James, he is, that's what he's getting at. He's not saying, hey, even don't be a public teacher. What he's wanting you to know is this: don't become a teacher for the wrong reason, okay? It's fine for you to be a public teacher. That's okay. I'm not trying to scare you out of that. But for those of you who may be motivated by improper things or get up here unprepared and not know what you're doing, well, I do want to scare you a little bit because there's souls at stake. If you misspeak, you potentially could cause a soul to be lost for all eternity. And so, again, be not many of you teachers, but if you are, understand a stricter judgment there is to follow. There is a lot of influence that happens with the position of a teacher, a preacher, a minister. I know that with the youth, I'd say up to this point, I've been here, it'll be 5 years in July that I've been here. And so, that time, I feel like I've earned the respect of the kids. They like to be around me. And there's a lot that I could probably convince them to do, right? Influence them to do. And so that's a big responsibility. I have to be careful with that and making sure we're going in a good direction that God would approve of. So, verse 1 tells you exactly why. Hey, you're going to receive a greater judgment, okay? It's not all doom and gloom, though. There's a lot of great things that happen by being a teacher, a preacher, a minister, all of those things. But if I fail to use it properly, well, I can't be lost. But what is it that we'll be judged as teachers? Here it says, for we all stumble in many ways. This is talking about breaking the law of God. And then it says this, and if any does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to bridle the whole body. That word perfect there, I think a lot of times we really get the wrong idea with that. We want to think about being complete, okay? Being complete there is the what we're trying to get to, being mature, those type of things, the goal of each Christian. What do you notice there, okay? If we're talking about being mature, what do you notice according to these verses here is tied to maturity, verses 1 through 2?
Well, I think maturity means that if you speak something concerning the Lord or His scriptures, something like that, you know what you're talking about.
Okay.
It's kind of like we get the full meat of God's word and everything like that. We know it, but when we're babies or something, we're getting baby milk or something. We just making sounds.
Yeah.
So I think that's what that means.
So maturity is tied to the tongue. All right. Taught here, Matthew 12, verse 34. The individual that's able to control their tongue can also control their thoughts, right? I've listened to some people, if you've gone to a ball game, gone to public places or anything like that, you've probably been around these people, but just say all kinds of words out of their mouths, right? All kinds of words. And a lot of times, as far as being in proper context, it doesn't even make sense. But they have no control over what they are saying, and they just say whatever. It's not good. It's not good, and therefore it would not be a bit surprised if they told me they struggled in other areas concerning their body, their mind, and those types of things, because they can't even control the tongue. All right. Whenever you and I, we think of things like that have a lot of power, okay? If we're thinking of objects, we probably think of things that are like really big, right? Really big. Maybe an 18-wheeler, maybe some big heavy equipment that maybe we've seen going on over here or something like that. I don't know. Something with a lot of power. Whenever they were paving the parking lot, it was neat to see all their big machinery and equipment and things that they were doing to fix that and all. So when we think of power, we give thought a lot to that, but not really the small things. If someone will read verses 3 through 5. 3 through 5.
And when we put bits into the mouth of horses to make them obey us, we also guide the whole animal. And consider ships, though very large and driven by fierce winds, they are guided by a very small rudder, wherever the will of the pilot directs. So too the tongue, though the tongue is a small part of the body, it boasts great things. Consider how large a forest Consider how large a forest a small fire ignites. Did you say through 6? I'm sorry.
No, ma'am, through 5. You're
Oh,
good.
okay.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you. All right. I'm not sure if you've given much thought to this before or not, but horses are really powerful animals. Any of y'all have horses before or grew up riding horses and those types of things? I know I did. When I was a young boy, I can remember most of the time we had horses growing up life, and I would ride those. And I remember one, his name was Levi, and he would do his best to throw me off, and a lot of times he did. I remember one time I did a front flip right over him, over the front, and he jumped over me. It was terrifying. And then he got to where he couldn't throw me off, and he would run down big embankments trying to get me off. And then when he couldn't get me off that way, he would lay down on the ground. And then when he couldn't get me off that way, he would lay down on the ground and then try to roll over. And I'd have to guess to which side he was rolling. It was scary. He could have hurt me really bad. But what allowed me to have some control over this big animal that really could have seriously injured me, if not taken my life, was really a small piece of metal. A lot of times we used, if you know about bits, what's called a snaffle bit, and then we'd use a square ring bit sometimes. And in comparison to the horse, like if I took it and let's just say I laid it up against his back hip back there, it's not even half the size. It's definitely not half the density. It's extremely small. It's not big at all. But yet, with that and 2 little leather straps, if he wasn't trying to kill me, most of the time I could make him do what I wanted him to do. If I wanted to go over here, we went over here. If I wanted to go over there, we did. If I wanted to stop, we stopped. Now, with that very small thing, I controlled this big, powerful animal with just a few ounces of steel. So ships, that's something that I know about a boat a little bit, but not so much a ship. And maybe you know more than I do. If you do, feel free to comment. But I do understand that there's a little device in there that really controls where the ship goes, right? What is that?
The rudder.
The rudder, right? The rudder. If we took the rudder off of a boat, right, and set it beside it, okay, you're going on a cruise, and we say, you see the big ship right there? That's what's going to make sure you go the right direction. You feel good about it? Probably not. You're like, that thing's not big enough to move this big, huge, ginormous ship, but it does, doesn't it? It controls it. It does it just fine. It's been doing it for I don't know how long. But this little bitty thing, it makes a really big difference. James tells us exactly that. Your tongue, it is just like that. I think when we think of things with power in our physical bodies, maybe we think of like our fists, right? Okay, if I got to handle business, I can do it like this. Our arms, I can grab hold of things, I can hold them. Maybe it's our legs, I can push them and do those types of things. James doesn't even mention those. He doesn't talk about that at all. He says this right here, this is what is really, really powerful that can change a lot. It's a small muscle, but it's certainly not weak. So with it, you think about it with me for just a moment, and we don't have to get specific, Ken, if you want to, but just think about how the words of people have influenced a lot of change in our world. Sometimes for the good, and sometimes for the bad, right? And it was just their words really that ignited it and got it going. That's what James wants us to know concerning our tongue, our words, what we say. All right, so I guess I should have had you read verse 6. I'll pick it up. The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and itself is set on fire by hell. I can remember as a young boy, I grew up in a house where we did not have central heating and air, okay? Whenever we would heat the house, we had brick heaters, okay? that were gas, or we'd have little space heaters and things like that. We also had window units for our air conditioning units. I don't really know what it's like to go into a bedroom and have a conversation at normal talking level because those window units are so loud. But I can remember as a young boy going outside and playing when it was cold, maybe it had snowed or something like that. And I would come inside and warm up beside that brick heater. My hands would be so frozen, probably literally on the verge of frostbite, because I had so much fun throwing snowballs at my siblings. I would stick them up next to that heater, right, and that burns, doesn't it? They're not quite ready to be that close, okay? I know it burns because it's hot, but it burns extra because they're extremely cold, right? I can remember doing this. I would get sick. If you're in the health field, you're probably telling me this was a terrible idea, but too late, I did it already. But I'd get sick and I'd go and I'd lay in the floor in front of that heater. I was freezing. I was running a fever. I didn't feel good. I can remember another time, giving you all these examples of fire. I took y'all don't do this, but I took a can of spray deodorant and a lighter like this, and I made a super cool flamethrower. It was awesome. Shot a flame about that one. I caught my sister's curtains on fire. I caught my sister's curtains on fire, didn't I? I put it out, so it was fine. But yeah, a lot of things that you can be done with fire. Really cool, really neat. But fire, though, can I mention all these ways that it's, kind of, bad there or not beneficial, maybe, especially with the flamethrower. But fire is not always bad, right? It's not always bad. You and I are thankful for, fire. It's my understanding that I think in a week it's supposed to get a good bit colder again, right? And drop to at least freezing, maybe even below. It's not always bad, but if I don't contain it, I don't use it right, I don't use the right amount, it'll destroy everything, right? It's a scary thought, but hey, something could happen here with a fire, anywhere with a fire, and it just causes devastation. I've seen that happen to people, and it's a bad, awful thing. The tongue is no different. When the tongue is under control, tell me some good things that it can do.
Well, the tongue can say "God bless you," or I pray that you've been sick. You can get better. Say something good and positive about somebody instead of something negative.
Yes.
And you could go on and on.
That's
and
right.
you don't mind knowing that even though the words cannot be repeated, what you have said was uplifting. I mean, if I was a new person that came here and I was interested in the church, don't ask me what kind of church I went to before. You shouldn't, or I shouldn't do it for somebody else. Say, well, like we family got here, we're so happy you came. Hope you'll find a reason to come back again. Now that made me say, hey, that's where I want to be.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Made a difference in your life, and words do that for all of us. If it wasn't for the words people spoke to me, I'd never be here in front of you now, and you may be saying, I wish they never had, right? But they do a lot of good. There's been hard times that I faced and wasn't sure what I was going to do or how to handle it, and just the words of somebody helped me to overcome that. It's true. Words, building somebody up, okay, getting to a level of confidence, encouragement, joy, those type of things, it takes time, doesn't it? It takes time to get there and to feel that way. The tongue can destroy that in just a few words. Okay? You can take somebody that was very confident in something they were doing and speak a certain word to them, and no longer do they feel that way about themselves and question everything that they ever did before. What can make it worse is who you are to them. One piece of advice that somebody gave me early on in ministry, and you've heard it before, I'm sure, it's a well-known saying, but when somebody says something to you, consider the source. Really at the end of the day, if you're somebody who's always negative, right, doesn't have anything positive to say, perhaps you don't even really know me, what you say probably won't affect me as much as somebody that I'm extremely close to, right? When they say it, that hurts. It really stings. And it only takes a little bit. I understand we all have bad days, we all have bad moments. But this is something
some people are so positive about everything
Isn't that
that it's
terrible?
not realistic.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I
That's
tell
right.
you something on Clark Sims. When him and Bert was little boys, they asked their mother for some ice. She said, "Yes, sweetheart," and some sweet word.
Yes.
You can have it when it freezes.
Yeah.
Instead of saying it's not frozen now, you can't have it. I don't have any.
That's right. That's right. I get what you're saying. That is true. We can get to a point where we're unrealistic, but
I struggle so you're talking about the ball field. I'm just loudly supportive at the ball field, but I do notice that. So like last night, somebody had told me something that a family member had said about me that was ugly. Did I want to call that person and just go to town? You better believe it. But I started doing this thing where like, when I hear something like that, or there's a way that you can react quickly, but it's fleshy, like I have to just stop and I just count to 3.
Yep.
And that helps reset my mind to, no, like you're not
That's
gonna
right.
do that. Like, because there's sometimes where like, even if you do let your tongue get the best of you, it doesn't make a difference.
Right.
If you did or if you didn't, it's still the same.
That's right.
So you're better off I have to reset my mind and tell myself, no, like, you're not gonna do that.
That's right.
I have to add a few more numbers to that 3.
Me too.
Hey, brother,
Count to 10.
That's like 10, at least 10.
brother, before I came here, I did nursing home work. And I was at a place that was right close to us, and they were the people that had dementia and all that kind of stuff. I went in there and led a song, and the woman stood up there and says, "I don't want to hear that. Sit down and shut up." And I can remember back at a time where I would have just said, "Well, you didn't have any business saying that. You keep your mouth shut." So I just what I said was I said, "I'm sorry." So I went over to her and I said, "You must be feeling bad today. I hope I can do something that will make you feel better and know that I'm here because God sent me here, and I want to tell you about someone that's bigger and better than any of us, but He loves you and I love you too." Well, before she came up, she put her arms around me and she says, "I don't know what I was talking about." From then on, she's my ally.
Yeah, that's right. That's good. That's a good way to do it.
I think too,
That's hard.
we don't know what type of day people are having. And, just speaking a kind word
That's right.
goes a long way.
It does. Yeah.
They say if you just smile at somebody, maybe that's the only smile they've had today.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And sometimes that's where grace comes into play. Like, we all have bad days, and if I say something that I shouldn't say, or if I let it get the best of me, I would want them to forgive me.
That's
And that
right.
has to go both ways.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I've heard this saying before, and again, probably you too. It's not a uncommon saying, but hurt people hurt people. Usually people who lash out and say things that make no sense and angry towards you, there's something going on with them more than likely. Maybe not always. But it sure does help my response to think they do, right? Verse 6, James, he does a really good job here. He does a really good job illustrating what the tongue can do if it goes unchecked. What time do y'all normally stop? I'm not trying to hold you hostage.
About 11, something, you know.
When?
You got 25 more minutes.
25
Or
minutes. We're not
whatever
going
you
that
feel
long.
comfortable with.
So,
We got all day.
Well, you know, the fire was a good illustration there. One match can burn every bit of California down.
it can, yeah. And a lot of times out there, unfortunately had, so I'll say this, is that, you know, all types of sin can be tied to our tongue. I'll list a few here. Sins against God, such as blasphemy. You find that in Exodus 20 and verse 7. Cursing, okay. We're familiar with that. Hear people use that type of language all the time. Romans 3:10 through 14. Lying, sins against other people, okay. Proverbs 12:22. This is a big one, okay. You know, I won't ask you about the rest of those, but I would say all of us in here have been guilty of this, including me. Proverbs 16 and 27, gossiping, right? Go around, we say, talk about somebody else in a negative way, those type of things. And sins against oneself, that it reveals my heart. Ephesians 4 and verse 29. It's a big deal, you know, really. The words that I speak, really, I determine who you are by what I hear coming out of here a lot of times, until I can see and know you differently, right? See the actions that you commit. So this is a big deal. It is a big deal. I'll ask you this question. Who does the tongue hurt more than anybody?
It hurts God.
Yourself.
And, well, yeah.
Yeah, it hurts yourself. It's the one that's using it. That's who it hurts. You know, if I go and I lash out and I say all kinds of things and I act terrible and I know I shouldn't, right? Now what do I got to do?
Got a lot of damage control.
Yeah, that's right. I got to go back. I got to try to fix it. I got to say I'm sorry, right? Hope they forgive me. You know, I just created a big mess for myself, where if I just kept my mouth shut, I'd be in a better place, right? You know, it's real rich me giving you that advice, but I need this too. It defiles the whole body. Somebody will look at you. Remember, I mentioned the ball game earlier. We went to a ball game on Saturday. There were people behind me. I don't know how many times they said the F word in there. Okay. Right there behind us, just over and over and over again. Do you know what I did? At least a part of me determined who they were based on those words they were saying. And I've never seen them before in my life. Right? It's just those words that they said. You know, people do that with me and you. And it's not just the bad words we don't say. It's the good words that we fail to say too. Right? You know, the tongue is not just to be, you know, clamp down, put in a box and not use. God doesn't want you to do that. No, you need to clamp down and put in the box the way it can be used bad, and open up and use it in all the ways it was intended to be used, in a good way. Because people are going to decide who we are based off of that.
I heard a terminology one time from a minister, but don't say that you're sorry, say you did completely wrong. That was unheard of, because God didn't make any junk.
That's right.
If we become junk, that's us, you know. But,
yes.
But just make sure you try to make it right.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Not too long ago, there was somebody, we were at a place, and they came in, they said, I smell something burning, okay? And I was wondering if something was on fire. Why would they assume there's fire? It's simple, right? Smoke, right? I mean, smoke. That's where it comes from, okay? Is a fire. Maybe you've done this. What was it, last week? The whole town looked like there was a big cloud over it. They were doing that controlled burn. And everybody on Facebook and their mom was asking really brilliant questions like, is something on fire? You know, I want to be like, no. You know, yeah, something's on fire. Okay, what? I don't know. If you want to be more specific, that'd be a better question. But yeah, something is on fire. How did I know that? Well, the smoke. I could see it. I could smell it. Right? And I don't even know where the fire is at. That is how the tongue is. That's how much damage it can do. Did you know that the words that I speak, the damage that they can cause, I can't even see? Like, I have no idea how far this is going to go. I really don't. Because odds are, is if I'm ugly to you, or I say something to you I shouldn't have said, or, spout something off, do you know how many people are probably just going to keep that to themselves?
Well, there'll be that gossip going on.
Yeah, that's right. A very small percentage, if any. They're going to go tell somebody, right?
And it'd be completely different the way it happened. There'd be so many different versions.
And it spreads. And it grows. Even if it stayed the same, it spreads and it grows. And now here we are trying to control something that really no longer can be controlled. So the words we speak, it doesn't just affect the people in my immediate path. I think that it does, but it doesn't. Think about this. Somebody today, okay, at my wife's work, okay, I'm not saying this does happen, all right, but at my wife's work, somebody does something ugly to her. Is that going to affect how she feels when she gets home and is talking to me? Yeah, it is. And then what might that potentially do between me and her?
Could make her lash out at you, even though you didn't have anything to do with it, just
That's
because she's all broken up inside.
That's right. That's right. It really wasn't me, was it? It was that person over there that said whatever they said and did, or vice versa. It's more likely it'd be me, right? But anyhow, you see that happening. Those people had no idea that would set her in this type of mood. We'd come home and then would cause a dispute between she and I there about whatever because of what they said. We don't realize that, but that's the thing that words can do. Very simple. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but it really is. So the tongue not only affects those far off, but also the entire body of the man. I do want to touch on this real quick, though. I don't want to be just negative about the good, the bad the tongue do. I want to talk about the good too. Y'all hear me talk about my granddad. Hunter Collins. He said, whenever he passed away, he said, "I know that was your hero," and he was in a lot of ways. And there are things that I can still hear him say. Like I can still hear his laugh. I can still hear him tell me about working hard and giving my best and doing everything I got to do to make it happen, to take care of my family. I can still hear those things to this day. Do you know that those words my children never heard him spoke, they're benefiting from? They are. And so the words you speak that are bad don't just carry on, but the words that are good carry on too. So again, don't just refrain from saying the bad. Say those good things to those people. They need them. So the tongue, it defines the entire body of the man. And really, you and I know this. If you're going to go do business with somebody, you're not going to go and find the person in town and who here in town never keeps their word. You're not going to do that. You want to know, hey, who's a man of their word? Who's honest? Who's upright? If I have a problem with something of the work they did, product they provided, they're going to make it right. Even if they lose, they're going to make it right because they're an honest man. What they say, I trust it. Nobody's better than their word. So if I use my tongue wrong, it's going to be polluting my entire being. James says this, and if you've read James much, I appreciate James, okay? I'll say it that way. He does not beat around the bush. There's not a whole lot of I wonder what he meant by that, okay? I think it's pretty clear. He says, setting on fire the entire course of life. What my tongue does and says, it's going to affect my entire life. My entire life. There are people in high school, okay? And I won't ask you, but I'll admit to it since, made these things right. But there is things in high school that I know I had no business saying that some of my classmates that I hadn't seen since then, do you know that's how they remember me? Yeah, that's how they remember me.
I had a guy that I thought was a good friend that I could count on. I do have a friend like that lives in Athens, member church. But anyway, I thought this guy was. And I got into it with another classmate. And the guy, he comes up to me and says, hey, I want to know what happened to you. And I think the guy's name was Steve or something. So I know whose side to be on.
Yeah.
I said, well, you're supposed to be my friend. At least I thought you were. So you'll be on my side. You will correct me if you think I'm wrong, if you're a really good friend.
That's right.
But you won't try to put me in a corner somewhere and say, and they were both from the same side of the track, so to speak. But you don't do that.
Yeah.
If someone's your friend, they're going to be your friend.
That's right.
And that one I talk about in Athens, I could call him at midnight and say, I've got a problem. And he'd say, are you at home? Where are you? Something. I'm on my way. He wouldn't ask any questions.
That's good. That's a good friend to have. That's the kind you need. So again, it affects my entire life. Uses even stronger language, and I get it. The Holy Spirit through James, wrote this here. But when when he wanted us to understand how serious, how terrible this is, the only adequate word there was eternal fire and brimstone, hell. That was it. Okay, it doesn't get more severe than that. Okay, that's it. That's ultimately what he's saying. All right, let's progress on. We'll try to bring this thing. We'll try to land this plane. All right, verses 7 through 8. If somebody would read that for us.
Which chapter?
James 3. James 3, 7 through 8.
7 and 8?
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and sea creature can be tamed and has been tamed by mankind, but no human being can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil, full of deadly poison. Woo.
All right. Again, we're not having to guess what James is talking about here. It's very clear. This statement, but no human can tame the tongue. Does that discourage him a little bit? Just to me, because maybe this is a male thing. I don't know, but I like to think if it can be done, I can do it. Right? I can do it. I may not do it as easily and as good as you, but I can do it. I can figure it out. So when I'm told, hey, you cannot, well, that's discouraging and it's pretty alarming. James, he goes forward and he mentions all kinds of animals that have been tamed before. Really animals that shouldn't be tamed. We're not talking about your Labrador puppy dog. These are beasts. These are very, very strong animals. Attend a circus and maybe you'll see an elephant out there, a guy controlling it, which way it's going to go, standing on its back legs, maybe standing up on that ball. A guy out there playing with a tiger, another man, he's wrestling a bear. James says, think about that. You can go out there and you can control something that in a second you would no longer exist on the face of the earth should it decide to do so. He said, you can control that, but you can't control your tongue. Okay? You can't control your tongue. He compares it then to a snake, right? Full of deadly poison. Snakes. What size could they be? What size? Especially think about this, poisonous ones. Any size, right?
Matter.
Any
Dead
size.
size.
Yeah,
Is what
that's the size I like. Yeah. What probably the biggest poisonous snake around here was a rattlesnake, probably. Yeah, I mean, they're huge, fat, right? But then, you can find small ones in places that are
snake and all that.
What's the one rattlesnake? Is it pygmy?
Pygmy in Florida.
Yeah. I don't know how deadly it is. I don't know. But it's pretty small, right? Pretty small. Think about that. That little bitty snake, really, you need to be worried about it, just like that big rattlesnake over there. right?
The venom in the small snakes that are venomous is worse than the.
Okay. I did not know that. So, yeah, you look at
Yeah,
that.
they can't control, I guess, or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, I have heard that.
It comes out everywhere.
Yes. So you think about that. Here's a snake. It's not that big, and realistically, in size comparison, I'm much bigger threat to it, right? But you know, if it was in here, I wouldn't be. Right? There's rattlesnake Carl out here. I don't care if you tell me you know where it's at. You don't know where it's at.
Mexicans used to call
I'll
it
wait.
a little gentleman because
Yeah.
it would warn you first.
That's
Unless you step on it or something, and then it's going to strike, and then,
That's right.
then warn you.
That's right. So a snake, it could be small, but it could end my life, right? It could end my life. What would you do if I told you this? We'll wrap up with this. What would you do if I told you, hey, in this box before all of y'all got here, I got a sack full of snakes, and I'm about to pull them out, okay? And Mr. Wesley, he's gonna shut that door and not let any of you out, and Daryl's gonna close out, and I'm gonna let them all out in here. What
Hey,
you
it'd
gonna
be
do?
like
Darryl be in front of
Yeah.
it'd be like the ones that went to a church to lead music, and they tossed them all out. And he said, "Where's the back door?" He said, "We don't have one." Well, I'm fixing to make one somewhere.
That's good. That's good. So yes, I agree. Nobody at least in their right mind, would do something like that. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what I did one time.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe should I retract that?
I was working out in the oil field, and I killed some kind of snake. I mean, I don't remember if it was a rattlesnake or whatever. I threw it in a 5-gallon bucket, and I had it in my work truck.
Right.
And I got back to the shop, and I told my boss, I said, man, you ought to look in that bucket there and look at that big frog or something like that, And I thought it was killed it, but really I didn't. He still.
Oh, wow. No. You about killed
I
your
thought he was
friend.
dead. He stuck his head, over the front of it, and it kind of jumped. It's wonder he didn't fire me.
Man, yeah. He must
I've
like
done a
you.
lot of stupid stuff.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yes, sir.
I worked with a boy that was in Vietnam,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking to another boy that had been there, and they was talking about all the snakes over there, different kind of snakes.
Mm-hmm.
This one boy said he wasn't afraid of the 3 kinds. That was dead, live, and artificial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. I understand.
They need like a flag stuck in them or something. I'm a good one.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I chopped one up in so many pieces.
That's what I'm saying.
It was just
The good ones would probably, be better off for it, but
I don't know if it's good or bad, but he was
That's right.
dead when I got to.
That's right. To bring this all to a close here, nobody would dare to turn all those snakes loose in a room like this or anywhere. But you and I, a lot of times, James says we do that very thing. We come in a room with 4 walls like this and we let this go right here and we don't give a second thought to it. And he said that's just as deadly. That causes just as much damage. That should cause just as much panic. But unfortunately, because we think it's normal, it doesn't.
Was that not a congregation that used to do that though?
Oh yeah,
There's some interest from where I'm not saying.
Let me expand on what he said.
Now I did say in their right mind. I did say, yeah. Go ahead.
That's why I wouldn't handle a snake because I'm already not in my right mind half the
Those
time.
big old chicken snakes would go up on the boy's cabin and go around the door.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian would go over there and catch it and play with it and even ask the little boys if they wanted to touch it and
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Oh yeah.
Well, on Thursday nights, we always had stunt night.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know
all
about that.
all the different ages of the children was playing that, what you said about snake handling church.
Right.
Oh goodness.
And you know who the handler was?
Who's that?
Our youth minister, but he was Adrian Porter.
Oh, goodness. No, I'm not doing that.
I have
No,
had
sir.
one of those big yellow 10-foot pythons around my neck, holding it one time. But
Where at?
that was like at Disney World or
Disney World. You know, those are okay for me, even though it choked me to death. But then, I tell you, those vipers, they look awful. But I don't want to leave you with the part that no man can tame the tongue. So I'm going to say this in about 15 seconds. The key word there is not tame, okay? And that's not the key word. Key word is man, all right? What he wants you to understand, you have zero chance of getting this under control without God. Okay? Zero chance. You can't do it. And so don't even try. You won't be able to. I know you know them. I do too. People out there in the world will say, you know, they're not a Christian, but they don't even cuss. Well, maybe. But, you know, they probably say other things they shouldn't say, right? They gossip, maybe talk bad to their wife, the kids, their co-workers, you know, whatever. Perhaps, like we were talking about, they don't do the good. They don't share the good things. You
Hey, on a serious note, do we know what happened with Roger and his wife? I mean, do we know that whether they're sick or
they're just out of town.
they're just out of town?
Yes, I thought
I
you
was
was
gonna say, do
down
we
there or something.
need to lift them up in prayer for the?
No, they just out of town. Just out of town. I got you the first time. I'm not sure who has you next week. He's gone for 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
You know, we should do like she said though, probably, like on social media.
Mm-hmm.
When you fixing to comment on that, stop.
I know.
Just stop and count, or just,
Yep.
should I do this really?
I can't tell you how
I
many
know I
times
want to, but
Yeah.
should I really say that?
That's right.
Well, there've been some things on the what do you call it? Social media. What's the other thing where people
Facebook.
Facebook that have actually put some things in there and they found out later it were not true.
I know.
Most of it's not
Well, I
true.
meant that
Most is not.
F word and all that is
Yeah,
just, they say it like a regular sentence.
they do.
It's
All the
getting
time.
worse and worse and worse. I mean, it's just,
It's bad.
you can't find hardly a regular sentence
And
on
taking the
there.
Lord's name in vain like you're not doing anything else.
That's right. That's right. Well, I appreciate y'all hanging in there with me. Again, I'm not sure who will be in here next week.
We've already got you nominated.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it was a great
I-
lesson, man.
It was.
I enjoyed
Enjoyed
getting
that.
to talk with you and hope it helped you some. This is a lesson I need probably about once a week. You know, I just do. And so, anyways, we'll pray, we'll dismiss, and hope y'all have a good day. Thank you, God, for this day. Thank you for all the blessings of life. Thank you for each one who's here. Dear Lord, we're thankful for your word. We're thankful that we have books like the book of James that we can open up. And dear Lord, it gives us this day-to-day living. Tells us what we can do and how we can overcome these things that just so easily entangle us, that we struggle with, that trip us up. Dear Lord, we want to be people that are yours, that we're identified that way because of the words we say, the things that we do, the way that we live, how we love you and how we love others. And Lord, we ask that you please be with the Richardson family. Please comfort them, strengthen them, and help them through. Dear Lord, this difficult time. Please be with all those on our sick list, those who are mentioned here in class today. Dear Lord, that they can be well, and those caring for them be safe. We thank you for blessing us far more than we deserve. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Hey, brother, I'd like to say something. I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No.
I enjoyed it. I feel like we need something.
That's what I want.
Not that
Yeah.
Roger doesn't do a good job, but it's good to,
No, you-
things that usually just stay unsaid.
No, if I'm up here, you talk to me.
Well, I talk a lot, but not usually in class, and I think I overdid it.
That's what I want. I want
My wife will tell you,
conversation.
I'd like to interchange.